Wat is het halen? Ich hatte Adwina. Welcome to English with Adwina. This is going to be the third video on Old English morphology, and today we're going to be talking about smaller noun declensions. So we've covered the big ones, we've covered the 3 strong and 3 weak declensions, and now this video is just about like the smaller ones. So these only have a couple numbers. Some of these are larger than the others, some are just so small that I've just not included them, so this is not comprehensive. I might make another video about this. These are regular irregularities, is what a lot of language learners would call this. They don't fit into the largest patterns, but they do have a pattern of a sort. Some of these are, as I said, very small, like 4 words. Some of these are preserved into modern English as the irregular nouns, so very irregular, and they were already very small even back then. So let's look at the first kind. These are called umlaut plurals. So the example of faute, fate, by far the most survivors from this class into modern English. So some of the forms of these words have a change of vowel called umlaut. These are the dative singular, nominative, and accusative plural, and in the feminine nouns can also be the genitive singular. So umlaut turns a back vowel front. So what that means is when you talk, you can have front vowels which are made in the front of the mouth, like a, e, a, etc., etc. You can have back vowels which are made in the back of the mouth, a, o, u, Umlaut basically turns a back vowel front, so you turn, in these cases, so these are the ones that you'll see in the umlaut plural nouns. You'll see a turns to a, on turns to in, u turns to u, a turns to a, o turns to a, and u turns to u. So in each of these cases you can hear that the first of the set is in the back of the mouth, a, on, u, a, o, u, and the second is front, a, in, u, a, u. So here's our basic paradigm. Nominative, nothing. Genitive for feminine nouns can either be umlaut or an e at the end, and for masculine nouns it's always an s. The dative is umlaut, the accusative has no ending, so the plural, the nominative, and accusative are both umlaut. The genitive is a and the dative is These are the two that are always like that, so a and you can always be sure of those ones. So here are 2 example words. We have faute, which is masculine and means foot, and we have arc, which is feminine and means oak. So faute, fortis, fate, faute, fate, forta, fortum, fate. And for oak, arc, arche or atch, arc, atch, arca, arcum, atch. And you'll notice that even though I haven't written it, that the C in oak becomes a ch when you have the umlaut. So atch, not ac. And the reason for this is basically that this word was pronounced aiki. So this E after the C turned it into a ch, so that lingers on, so you say atch. So you try it. We have a masculine one, which is mon, which means person. It does not mean man. Man is where. And we have turf, which means turf, a piece of turf, a piece of sod, and that's a feminine noun. So think about which endings go where, which forms take the umlaut, what vowel do you put in for the umlaut. So I'll give you some time. So the right answer for mon is mon, monnes, min, mon, men, monna, monnum, men. And for turf, the answer is turf, turve or turf, 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 turva, turvum, turf. So the same forms always take the umlaut. You just have to remember which ones those are and which vowel you change for the umlaut. So the next set is U stems, and this is one of those very small ones. And the main reason that I'm actually including this one is because Wiktionary for Old English claims that there are more of these than there actually are. And basically that's because a lot of nouns that originally were U stems became regular. So Wiktionary claims that brejo, which is indeclinable and means like hero or ruler, it's a very poetic word, and had, which is a regular strong masculine noun and means person, personality, character, are still eustems. They are not. The ones that do exist are appel, which can actually either be a eustem or a strong masculine noun, and actually all of these can vary because they're very irregular. It's a very small class, but appel, duru, yatawa, which is plural, hond, sidu, sunu, widu. So those mean apple or fruit, door, implements, which is a euphemism for genitalia, so you would say manes yatawa, the people's implements, and that was a euphemism. Hond means hand, sidu means custom, sunu means son, and widu means wood. So those are the only ones that exist. Don't trust Wiktionary on this. I actually fixed another example. I'm not going to tell you which one that is because I don't want to get you the idea that it is a eustem, but I fixed it myself. So hond and appel do not end in u because of the syllable length rule. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the first two videos, especially the first one where I talk about the strong declensions. So appel was originally apple, so it was one syllable, and they just added this e to make it easier to pronounce. So the nominative singular is u or nothing, the genitive is a, the dative is a, the accusative is u or nothing, the plural is a, the genitive is a, the dative is the accusative is a. So duru, dura, dura, duru, dura, dura, durum, dura. Try it yourself. Try hond. So the correct answer is hond, honda, honda, hond, honda, honda, hondum, honda. So W stems, these had a W before the endings, and this surfaces in Old English as a U, as an U, whenever there would be no ending, and as W when a vowel follows. So U deletion does apply here, so we have mad, madwe, which means meadow. These can be any gender. You could have masculine, feminine, neuter, W stems. So these are all the forms. It's basically the same as the strong declensions, just add a W or a U. I won't go into too much detail because it's basically the same as the strong declensions. So bauru, baurwas, shadu, shadwa, saru, saru. Some nouns, some neuter nouns like riche, which means kingdom, have a U in the plural, have an U in the plural, even though they have a long stem. So the plural of riche is richu, and these always end in e, and basically this comes from the original form was basically richi, richiu, but that J that Y sound kind of disappeared. So riche, riches, riche, riche, richu, richa, richum, richu. Yarine is another example. Yarune, yarunes, yarune, yarune, yarunu, yaruna, yarunum, yarunu. And I'm just kind of going through these very fast because basically this isn't going to be comprehensive. There's other small declensions. There's the I stems. I might make another one of these videos, but I was kind of flying through them. And the reason for that is basically my point with this video was there are a lot of classes which end in the same thing. Like, there's a lot of e endings and there's a lot of u endings in the nominative singular. That's confusing. Like, if I just give you the word baru, how are you going to know how to decline that? Like, just looking at the form baru, that could be baru, bare, bara. That could be what it is. That could be baru, barues, barubas. That could be a eustem. That could be baru, bara, bara. So it could be all sorts of things, and that's very confusing. So from here, the way that I'm going to fix that is the same way that Latin grammar books and other language grammar books will fix that. They will give multiple forms so that you can extrapolate the rest from them. So that will be in the form nominative singular, definition, gender, genitive singular. So for example, the word shadu would be written like this: shadu, shade, feminine, shadwe. And most noun classes should be distinguishable enough given that information. There's still a few outlier cases, like umlaut plurals. I'd have to write the plural because the genitive looks the same as a regular noun. But for the most part, that's pretty good. So next video will probably be about adjectives because those are pretty easy. I can knock that out in one go. because I can just refer back to these videos, because a lot of the same things apply. And then I'll do verbs. So that's where things are going from here. Thanks for watching. This has been English mit Adwina, where you sell to slaughter.